Hi, I'm Brent, and welcome to this video. We're going to build today a simple little keepsake box, and it doesn't use a whole lot of materials. You can build it out of two 12 by 12 sheets of 3mm basswood plywood, and it's pretty simple to build it. It looks complicated, but the design is pretty straightforward, and I'll show you how to put it together in this video and um, show you how to get this assembled finished product. So hang in there and we'll go through the process. All right, to get started, we've got all the pieces laid out. I've already pushed them out of the plywood sheets, and I've put a coat of stain. This is just a cherry stain. I've not put any like polyurethane or shellac on it yet. Wait to do that until after you've got the box glued together. And so let's take a look at all the pieces. So we've got the two side pieces. We've got the base or the bottom piece. These two pieces make up the lid. And so they will go on top, they'll stack like that to make the lid. And then we have the side pieces that make up the rounded edge, the angled edge. And then this little piece is a top rim to help pull all of the, or hold all the side walls together at the top. One of the, I like to just get all these laid out so that way I kind of know what pieces I'm working with. I can work my way around the box. And also while you're preparing and getting everything laid out, just kind of look to make sure that all these little holes have been punched out. One other tip, whenever you're starting assembly, these side pieces, I like to lay those out so that way I don't get like the order of those mixed up. And you can see if you're working your way from the side around the edge of it, you want the pieces that will match up to the side piece. And you start with that, and then you're alternating all the way across. So this one, the top is on the side piece, the top has one of the fingers of the finger joint. This side receives. So then on the next piece, you want the top to have the finger, and then the middle will receive. Top has the finger, and then receive again, and then that makes the way back around to the other side. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on the assembly, and we'll see how this comes together. So to assemble this, I'm just using some standard wood glue. I used this Gorilla wood glue, but you can use any brand, of course. Okay, so I like to start with one of the side pieces and then work my way around. So let's get one of the side pieces. And I like to take a look at the sides and pick the side that looks the best. I don't like this line that showed up, so I'm going to use the other side of it. So it's got a good pattern all the way across. Since this is what I want on the inside of the box, I'm going to take and put my glue across that side. So we'll get started here. And what I like to do is, shake the glue down and then just kind of barely squeeze until I start to see a bead at the edge of the tip of the nozzle. And so sometimes you may have a little bit of glue still stuck in there from the last time you used it. So you just have to kind of peel that off. And then now it's good and clear. All right, making sure I'm still on the right side. Yeah, so you can see I'm just going to leave a little trail of glue across through there and work my way on across. And then on the bottom piece, I like to get a little bit of glue on all these fingers of the finger joint on both sides. And this is also a good time to kind of determine which side of this do you want to be the bottom of it. And both sides are pretty good on this one. So I'm going to let this one be the inside bottom. And so that means that my piece that I've already got glued, we'll go ahead and get that started here and just squeeze that on there. So it's just a good tight fit, these pieces. If you're using the 20-watt laser, it should just have a good snug fit because I've tuned the file to work with it. So this is the tricky part. We just have to kind of glue each of these on these sides where they match together and the base. And so there's a lot of glue, a lot of surface area to glue on this. But just take your time and think about the parts that are going to be matching together and glue them up. And what we'll do is we'll take just a rag, something that's a damp rag, and we'll take and wipe all the excess glue off once we get done. It's best to go ahead and get everything assembled and then worry about the glue. As long as you're not going to let it set for 15-20 minutes, you should be fine. And this box isn't that big, so we can definitely work our way around it and get all the pieces glued up within that time frame. So we're getting it lined up. It's looking good, coming together. We're ready for the other side. So again, kind of think about which side would look the best. Oop, that one's got a line, so I'm going to put that on the inside. So let's do that. Okay, looking pretty good here. Get all of our pieces together. Check the alignment here. You might need to reposition some of them. Biggest thing is make sure that the bottom is seated in. We're gonna fix the top with that other piece to align it. I'm gonna get some water and we'll wipe off the glue. All right, just take our damp cloth and let's go through and wipe off any major blobs of glue, because you want to leave, obviously the glue to join the pieces. What I'm just worried about getting is any pieces that are kind of like a big glob. All right, so now that I've got pretty much all the sides evened out and I'm happy with the way that that's lining up, our next step is to put that top ring on it. And that'll help kind of pull everything together. So what we want to do is put a little bit of glue on the side that we're going to have facing down. And you want to go along the outside edge where the fingers are. Try not to get glue on the inside where there's no fingers. I'm just working my way around here, trying to keep it in the camera. So sorry if we get off camera here. So we're just going to take and start working that in and seat it in on those. Take a little bit of wiggling. And these might have to move out just a little bit as you work your way around. So squeeze those out. Maybe pull them back in. Push them out and pull them back in. Now we're getting in there. That's looking good. Same thing on the other side. Be careful not to force it because it could break this. This top piece is very thin. So just work your way around it. Get that last piece in there. And now that we've got that top tied together, we can really start to put a little bit more pressure and bond it together. Now, one of the things that I like to do on these boxes, because they are so thin, is I like to take some of these end joints and squirt a little bit more glue down in there. And then I'm going to rub that into the joint with my finger. And then we're going to tape the outside. So the next thing is I like to take a little bit of this blue painter's tape, and we'll start on one of the flat sides, and I'll start on the bottom here. And we'll get us a good run to get some grip there. And pull off, we'll pull off some excess to make it round. You have to do this in 2 sections. So I'll start there and I like to push in firmly and work my way around. So that way I can kind of make sure that those pieces are seated in. So this is kind of, like I said before, working like a clamp for it. Since it's such an unusual shape, we can't really clamp these together. And you may have to push from the inside a little bit to make sure that the edges are pretty flush. You want a good smooth transition from piece to piece. So, and what I like to do is overlap, because the tape doesn't stick really well to the fresh stain or wood surface. So sticking it onto itself kind of makes the grip. There we go. And that just keeps it from expanding out. So now we want to get this top layer. Make sure that that top ring is all the way seated down. And then we're going to start matching in those pieces like that are springing loose. Okay. And just trying to check that they're lined up the best that we can. So the way the top works, this top is bigger than the inner part. And so what's going to happen is this fits down inside. If you remember on the laser, on the cutout, this was the inner piece to this. So that seats down in there and that kind of holds it centered. So what you want to do is you want to get this as centered as possible to this piece. And again, choose the best looking wood grain to go on the side that's going to show. So here I've got a rim piece for another one that I'm going to make. So if you just take and set that on the inside, see how that's not flush? It should be the same distance all the way around. So I'm just pushing it with my thumb until I've got the same distance all the way along that side. You could spot check it on the ends. So same there. All right, I feel pretty good about that as far as the centered area. So I'm just going to lay this heavier block of wood on it. Keep putting some heavier pieces on it. Make sure it's centered so it's not leaning to one side. You could also, of course, use clamps, but I usually just stack a whole bunch of junk on top and that holds it down. All right, so now I have removed all the tape and our box is ready to use. So it's a pretty simple build. One of the things that you might want to fine tune is this top rim, the lid. You know, it fits in there pretty snug. So one of the things that I would do is maybe take a little bit of sandpaper and go around this edge and you know, thin that down a little bit so that way it's easy to just set the lid on and seal the box. So you can see it's kind of hard to get on a little bit. It's a really tight fit because that is simply the laser made one pass to make this inner part of the lid, and so it's a very, very snug fit. So that would be one thing to do. I'm going to take some 220 sandpaper and go around these finger joints as these angled pieces around through here kind of have a little bit of a ledge to them. So just smoothing that off will make it feel good in your hands. And then our final step would be to take this and add a couple of coats of shellac just to give it a good finish and to protect it over the years of use. But it's a pretty straightforward build. I hope that it works great for you. I think it's going to be something that'll sell pretty good at our local shops, and it's not a whole lot of materials goes into this, but maybe a little bit of time for the actual assembly and for staining and putting it together. But I think that's something that you could probably sell for like maybe $20 at a store. So it's a fun little project, and I hope that you enjoy doing it, and thank you for purchasing it.